Hello everyone, and welcome to Judging Movies by Their Letterboxd Taglines, The Squeakquel. Except I couldn't put that in the title because then you'd think I was doing Alvin and the Chipmunks in this one, and I can't because I haven't seen the entire quadrilogy yet. Anyway, if you watched my original video on this subject, you'll know what to expect. Letterboxd has a bunch of taglines for movies. I don't know if they're official or what. Apparently they're sourced from TMDB, so that website is the one that's really to blame here. Anyway, let's look at some movie taglines now and judge how fitting and or shitty they are. How about some semi-recent films, like Sinners? Dance with the Devil. Yeah, that goes pretty hard. It fits with the actual text of the movie, there's a real song with that title, and it ties into the association the devil has with music and a lot of folklore. Maybe the tagline could have better implemented some of the underlying themes of the film about assimilation. I feel like that could have been a little more interesting, but I can't argue with how simple, yet incredibly effective this one is. A-. I also recently saw Wes Anderson's latest movie, The Phoenician Scheme. If something gets in your way, flatten it. Yeah, that is a quote from the movie, but I don't know if it's the best possible one, considering the main character kind of moves away from that mentality as the film progresses. It certainly fits the beginning of the film enough though, so I'll give it a B. Alright, that's enough of these baby films. It's time to talk about some real cinema now. A Minecraft movie. Be there and be square. Okay, that's actually pretty good. Like, this movie isn't really about anything, so its ideal tagline should be as silly and goofy as possible. I know the main characters aren't actually square in this, but like, come on, this is really fitting tone-wise. And it's pretty catchy as a tagline. A-, the highest score I will ever give to any aspect of this movie. Now for the only animated movie that released on June 20th, 2025 that I have any memory of watching. K-Pop Demon Hunters. A lot of people have asked me to review this one. Here's the review. It's pretty good. The animation is very fun and stylized, it has a great energy, the songs are awesome. I just really wish we didn't spend so much time on a liar reveal plot, or the central relationship that doesn't really go anywhere by the end. Good, but not great. I really want a sequel though. Anyway, what's the tagline? They sing, they dance, they battle demons. Yeah, I kinda got that from the title of the movie. I don't know, this one is pretty weak and feels entirely superfluous. Something with a poppier punch to it would have been a lot better. This one's just a little clunky and doesn't give me anything that the title didn't already express. C. Now I know Superman came out recently, except I am writing and recording this at the beginning of the month, so I have not actually seen Superman yet. Could I record an insert after I've seen it and then place it here? No, I don't roll like that. Sorry, Superman, you're gonna have to wait till the third video. Your tagline looks pretty great, though. With that said, when I was talking about the Best Picture nominees in the first Letterboxd video, I hadn't yet seen The Brutalist, so I didn't feel like I could judge its tagline yet. Well, only fair to give it its turn now. Welcome to America. Yeah, fine, I guess. But I feel like a much more fitting quote from the movie would have been, "We tolerate you." That kind of summarizes the entire message of the film, but I guess Welcome to America does too. A very simple statement that seems nice at first, only to become horrific later on. I'll give it a B just because I feel like it could have gotten even more specific to the actual story and characters. And now for one last recent movie I watched. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Oh hell yeah, baby, I love this series. But with that said, I can't just start with the 8th installment, can I? Mission Impossible 1. Expect the impossible. Alright, we're doing that thing again where we use a word from the title in the tagline. I don't like that. I feel like this is the same problem as K-Pop Demon Hunters. Like, how do you go into a movie titled Mission Impossible and expect it to be possible? Well, technically all these missions are possible because Ethan pulls them off at the end. So the title is a lie! Whatever, back to the tagline. C-. It's not awful, but it's pretty repetitive. Mission Impossible 2. Expect the impossible again. Okay, I can't say that's better than the first one, but it is pretty funny. I mean, come on now. I don't know what grade to give this one. C- again, I suppose. But spiritually, it's a 10 out of 10. This is incredible. Mission Impossible 3. The Mission Begins. Okay, this series is really striking out with this. You can say that about any of these damn movies. What are you talking about? I feel like with this one especially, you could have a tagline about coming out of retirement, since that's what Ethan does in this movie. But no, instead you get this shit. I'm giving this one a D-. Maybe it could have worked if this was a prequel origin story, but it's not even that. It's just a regular Mission Impossible movie. Hello? Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. No plan, no backup, no choice. Okay, there we go. That's one that actually ties into the movie, and it doesn't feel like you could use it for any of these. It fits very well, since this is the first one where Ethan and the team are truly winging it, since they've been disavowed by the government. It's not anything outstanding, but yeah, I like it. It really sells the extra danger present in this mission. B+. Alright, we're halfway through the series, so why don't we take a break from it and see what else the director of Ghost Protocol has been up to. Oh, would you look at that? It's Brad Bird, director of The Incredibles. No gut, no glory. What the kind of tagline is that? Yeah, Bob is fat, but that really has nothing to do with the themes of this incredibly interesting superhero family action drama. That sounds like it should be the tagline for Kung Fu Panda. Okay, now I gotta go check Kung Fu Panda. We are officially doing a tangent within a tangent. I'm giving The Incredibles one a D. At least it's kinda funny. Kung Fu Panda. Prepare for awesomeness. Yeah, I would have been disappointed if they didn't use the word awesome in this tagline. It's honestly hard to think of anything better for this movie. It fits really well, and I'm giving it an A-. Well, we gotta do the sequels now. Kung Fu Panda 2. Twice the awesomeness. Again, that's pretty funny, but I do kind of wish they went for something a little more interesting and fitting to this movie's story, especially since it is a darker and more mature one. This really doesn't tell me anything about Kung Fu Panda 2 other than it's Kung Fu Panda again. I'll give it a C+. It's kind of funny, but not all that. Kung Fu Panda 3. Grab destiny by the dumplings. Alright folks, we got our first balls joke in one of these taglines. It's about time. Not bad, I suppose. This is a movie about Poe's destiny as the true dragon warrior. And there are dumplings. It actually does a pretty good job of merging the epic and goofy elements that the series is known for in equal measure together. I still don't love it as a tagline, but it's not bad at all. B. Kung Fu Panda 4. The Dragon Returns. Why is dragon in quotes? Why isn't it the Dragon Warrior Returns? That wouldn't even make sense, actually, because this is about how he's not even the Dragon Warrior anymore. Kung Fu Panda 4 sucks, and this tagline sucks. It just looks like a placeholder. You could also use it for literally any installment in the series besides the first one. Honestly, maybe this is a little harsh, but I'm giving this one an F. This looks terrible on the Letterboxd page. Can you imagine it on a fucking poster? Unbelievable. Okay, what was I talking about before Kung Fu Panda? Oh yeah, The Incredibles. Well, unfortunately, there's one other of those we could look at. Guess we might as well. Incredibles 2. It's been too long, darlings. That's kinda cute. Obviously it's supposed to be Edna Mode saying it. It reflects the fact that it's been 14 years since the previous film, though without that context, I don't know if it really works since the movie takes place immediately after the first one. I also don't really think this scans at all if you're not familiar with the original film and Edna's character. Kind of a mixed bag. I'll say B- maybe. A huge improvement over the first tagline at least. Okay, what was I talking about before The Incredibles? Oh yeah, Mission Impossible. 4 more movies. Here we go. Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Desperate times, desperate measures. Maybe a little generic, though I guess it does fit this specific film very well. These are desperate times, with the Syndicate compromising Ethan's briefing, him being forced to go on the run from the CIA for 6 months, and he commits some desperate measures like tearing Benji away from playing Halo in order to invite him to the opera. Not bad, I'll give it a B. Mission Impossible Fallout. Some missions are not a choice. A pretty cute play on the iconic line, your mission should you choose to accept it. And I think it also ties into Ethan being forced to go after the plutonium cores he lost since he chose to save Luther instead. But to him, that's not a choice. He refuses to let any of his teammates die no matter what. And the tagline could also be interpreted as any mission involving Julia being something Ethan can't turn down or fail, even if he didn't know she would be involved when he started it. I think this is the best one in the series so far. A-. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. We all share the same fate. Yeah, ties pretty well into how whatever mischief the entity gets up to will have global consequences for generations to come. Even though in the next movie, it turns out the entity just wanted to nuke everyone. I don't know, am I crazy for thinking this movie wasn't really building that up and they just didn't have any idea for more interesting stakes in the final installments? Whatever, I'm going on a tangent again. Pretty solid. B. And now we finally get to the most recent one, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Our lives are the sum of our choices. Okay, wait, that might actually be the best one in the series. So much of this final movie is dedicated to tying together everything that happened in the previous 7. Except Mission Impossible 2, they kind of forgot that one existed. I can't exactly say I blame them. But yeah, this feels incredibly climactic and appropriate. Ethan chose to accept every one of those missions. The choices he made in the third movie are what led to the entity existing. It ties into the character of Dunlow really well. Multiple antagonists from the previous film choose to switch sides and help him. I think this is a weirdly beautiful tagline that just feels perfect for the final installment of this excellent series. I'm giving this one an A. Please watch these movies, I am begging you, they are incredible. What else happened recently in the realm of cinema? Well, the New York Times held this poll asking what the best movies of the century are so far. We're just going to ignore the industry professionals and see what the common man's top 10 looks like. Number 1, according to the poll, is Parasite. Why don't we see what that tagline has in store for us? Act like you own the place. Oh, that's... damn, that is... Dude, that tagline is absolutely delicious. It's ridiculously thematically appropriate. It's concise, it's catchy, it has a ton to say about class in just 6 words. I think that's an A+ right there. I can't think of anything better for this movie. Okay, 2, 3, and 4 on this list are Mulholland Drive, No Country for Old Men, and There Will Be Blood. I'm a fake cinephile, guys. I've never seen those. But in my defense, I figured I'll probably make a Paul Thomas Anderson ranking at some point. So I'm saving There Will Be Blood. Don't get on my case about it. Okay, numbers 5 through 10 on this list are movies I've seen. Interstellar. Mankind was born on Earth. It was never meant to die here. Kinda cool and evocative, but a little wordy for my tastes. I also feel like maybe something about what a powerful force love is would suit this film a lot better. I'll say B-. The Dark Knight. Welcome to a world without rule. Wait, what am I doing? I can't judge this tagline yet. I gotta do Batman Begins for... Wait a minute. This is a world without rules. I don't gotta do shit. In fact, the rules are so far out the window that I'm doing The Dark Knight Rises first instead. F you. The legend ends. Pretty simple, doesn't really have much to say other than this is the end of the trilogy. It kinda goes hard, but I feel like this is the exact same problem as Dune having the tagline, It Begins. You guys can RF farm all you want, but it doesn't mean I have to like it as a tagline. B-. Okay, now we're doing Batman Begins, because again, no rules. Evil fears the night. Oh, that goes hard. I like that a lot. I don't know why they decided to put a Deltarune reference in this tagline, but you know what, I can vibe with it. I'm especially glad they used the word night for the only installment in the trilogy that doesn't have night in its title. See, Nolan knows what he's doing with those taglines. I'm giving this one an A. It's so damn cool. Okay, now back to The Dark Knight. Welcome to a world without rules. Yeah, that one's pretty good. Call me crazy though, but surely the tagline of this movie should have been, oh, I don't know, why so serious? Yeah, the one they have fits, but you could probably apply it to a bunch of films, and I don't know if it perfectly captures the essence of the Joker in this movie. B. Number 7 on this list is Mad Max Fury Road. Does this mean I gotta do all the other Mad Max movies? Nope, sorry, we're skipping this one for now. I cannot go on any more tangents. I want to get to exactly 50 movies just like last time. I'm on to you, George Miller, trying to get a 5-for-1 deal. Anyway, number 8 is Spirited Away. On the other side of the tunnel was a mysterious town. Sure, that is an accurate statement based on the events of the movie, but like, come on, that's nothing. Maybe it's a little bit mythic sounding, but there was so much more you could have done with this wonderful movie. C. Okay, maybe we do have time for one more Ghibli movie before we finish out the New York Times top 10. Oh, I know! Earwig and the Witch, my favorite! Enter a world of magic and music. That's terrible. Oh my god. Yeah, I guess there is magic and music in the world Earwig enters, but it's ridiculously generic and uncatchy. Better than the film it came from, though! D+. Now for Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. You can erase someone from your mind. Getting them out of your heart is another story. Damn, that's really powerful. I kind of got choked up reading that a little bit. It is pretty wordy, but in a poetic way. Like, I feel like all of those words are completely justified, and I don't think there's anything here to erase. Moreover, it perfectly expresses what the premise of the film will be, while also being vague enough to get you intrigued regarding the details. Very effective and gut-wrenching, even detached from the film itself. I'll give it an A. And the last movie in the New York Times top 10 is The Social Network. You don't get to 500 million friends without making a few enemies. Oh man. I remember when that was adorning the posters for this movie when it first came out. They knew what they had with this damn tagline. It's absolutely flawless. One of the best movie taglines I've ever seen. Perfectly playing into the language of Facebook, while also teasing the conflict Zuckerberg is gonna get into in a really ominous way. Easy A+. Anything less would be ridiculous. Alright, looks like I've only done 28 movies out of the ideal 50 so far. I guess we got time for all of Mad Max. Max. Wait a minute! How can I make this video without talking about the greatest film to ever exist? Max Keeble's Big Move! His world, his rules. It's not really his world, though. Max Keeble's a kid who's moving away, and he causes a bunch of ruckus at his school as a result, since he thinks there will be no consequences. He's not really making his own rules. I guess you could argue the school is his world to do whatever he wants in, but okay, to really break this down, we need to have a much deeper psychoanalysis of the hidden layers of Max Keeble's Big Move. And unfortunately, I just do not have time for that. Let's just say this is a generic tagline that could apply to any movie with a young, mischievous protagonist. Give it a C- and move on. Okay, now we're doing Mad Max for real. No more tricks. Mad Max 1. The maximum force of the future. Oh, I get it. He's the maximum force because his name is Max, and he's in the force because he's a cop. Like, you know, being on the force, and it's the future because it's the future. This one's kind of whatever. Fine, but pretty forgettable. C+. Mad Max 2. When all that's left is one last chance, pray that he's still out there. Somewhere. A little long, a little hard to follow grammatically, but it does exude a lot of aura and really sells Max as this legendary road warrior we know him as in this film. I think the coolness factor does propel it up to a B+, even if it could probably be better with a little refinement. Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Hold out for Mad Max. This is his greatest adventure. A very bold claim to make about the worst Mad Max movie by a landslide. Even if this wasn't the worst, I just hate it when taglines do this. It kind of undervalues the previous movies to come out and say, oh yeah, this is the best one, forget all the other dog shit you watched. And of course, it falls especially flat when this really isn't much of an adventure at all. He fights in a cool Thunderdome, and then he dicks around in the Ewok village with a bunch of children. Wow, thanks tagline, you really sold me on this. D. Mad Max Fury Road. The future belongs to the mad. This may break my cardinal rule about not using a word from the title in the tagline, but I think it honestly really works here. Everyone in this movie, both the good and evil people, are insane, but you kinda have to be to survive this wasteland. I think this is a great tagline that really suits the nature of the film. I'll give it an A-. And lastly, Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. Fury is born. Okay, that one doesn't hit the same, I don't know. By the nature of this being a Furiosa origin prequel, you kinda already assume that Fury is gonna be born going into this. It doesn't help that Fury and Furiosa are so similar, so having them both start the tagline and title respectively is a little unimaginative. I feel like there was definitely something much better you could have done here about the nature of revenge, or her drive to return to the Green Place one day. This one doesn't really work for me that well. I'll give it a C. Alright, I think now is as good a time as any to start judging the taglines of some musicals, as I am prone to do. One of the all-time, I don't want to say greats, but pretty memorable ones for me is from Funny Girl from 1968. People who see Funny Girl are the luckiest people in the world. So, this is a paraphrase of an actual lyric from the show. People who need people are the luckiest people in the world. This could have made a fine tagline, possibly, but it's kind of hard to determine how I feel about this tagline, turning it into a blatant advertisement for the film. Don't get me wrong, it's hilarious, and it absolutely sticks out in my mind, which is what a tagline ought to do at the end of the day, right? I mean, I want to be one of the luckiest people in the world and watch Funny Girl. I don't know, it's a bold swing, and I can respect it. Just for the funny factor, I think I'm gonna give this one an A-. How about we look at another classic, Singin' in the Rain. What a glorious feeling. This is a lyric directly taken from the title song, and in fact, it's the lyric that directly follows the words "Singin' in the Rain." There's a great sense of logic having it here, but on top of that, it's just a really expressive and exciting tagline that perfectly gets across the vibe of this movie. That exclamation point, dude, that's what especially sells it. It makes you say, yeah, you know what? Singin' in the Rain probably is a really glorious feeling. It's just a vibrant and lovely film, and this is the perfect tagline for it. One more classic before we move on. All that jazz, all that work, all that glitter, all that pain, all that love, all that crazy rhythm, all that jazz. Yep, that was the entire tagline. So the movie is obviously about Bob Fosse reflecting on his entire life and career, and trying to conceptualize his eventual death before it happens. So don't get me wrong, it is a nifty idea to try and fit an entire life's work and experiences into the tagline of your movie. But god damn, this thing is too long. There's no need to repeat the title of the movie at the very end. And I don't love how all that crazy rhythm is 2 words while everything else is 1. I don't really know how best to capture the essence of this movie in a tagline without going all out like this. It's just such a large and weighty work. And this does do a good job of getting that across. So I will be generous and give it a B. My brain is telling me this isn't a very good tagline, but if you see the movie, you can probably tell Fosse wouldn't have wanted it any other way. Oh, by the way, just to be clear, All That Jazz is the best movie I've seen all year so far, and you definitely need to watch it if you haven't already. It's kind of unreal how phenomenal it is. Now let's see some recent musicals, like Into the Woods, Be Careful What You Wish For. Wow, Disney, it wasn't bad enough that you botched this adaptation, but you also gave it the most generic fantasy tagline I've ever seen in my life. There are so many damn lyrics from this musical that would have made for much better taglines. This sucks and I hate you. D-. How about another movie based on a Sondheim show that I may or may not have rewatched recently for an upcoming director ranking? Sweeney Todd. Never forget, never forgive. It may not be a lyric from the show, but it does go hard, and it does fit Sweeney's character incredibly well. Sure, you could apply it to any story about revenge, but that doesn't mean it isn't a good way to convey what this story is all about. B+. Speaking of upcoming ranking videos, boy oh boy, I sure am doing that Adam Sandler one since you guys raised $17,597 for the American Heart Association. Don't get me wrong, thank you so much for doing that. But also I hate you because now I gotta rewatch Click. What if you had a universal remote that controlled your universe? Yeah, I mean, that definitely tells you what the movie's about, but that is also a lot of words you probably don't need. This is a tagline that includes universal and universe. Surely there was a way to condense that a bit. This also pales in comparison to the tagline for the Adam Sandler movie Gun, which is, what if you had a gun? See, now that's a tagline. Clear, concise, catchy. I'm giving Click's tagline a C-, and even though Gun doesn't count for this movie since it's not real, I'm giving that one a triple A+. Other taglines look upon it and weep. I probably want to save more Adam Sandler movies for an installment in that series that comes closer to the actual ranking. But I just can't resist showing a little love to Punch Drunk Love right now. I have a love in my life. It makes me stronger than anything you can imagine. A direct quote from the movie, and if you haven't seen it, you might call this a little too overly long and clunky. I don't blame you, but I think it's absolutely beautiful personally. It's the culmination of an entire film's worth of strife and heartache. It's an insanely triumphant moment for what is probably the most likable and endearing Adam Sandler character to date. The movie in general is just such a beautiful expression of what a magical difference love can make in your life. A perfect summation, a perfect quote in its own right, a perfect scene in the movie. This one's an A. If you don't get it, I can't help you, sorry. Alright, we're getting closer and closer to the ideal 50 movie milestone. So here's a few more films I wanted to include before we wrap up. A lot of people requested that I take a look at the tagline of Finding Nemo, and I can see why. There are 3.7 trillion fish in the ocean. They're looking for one. That gives me goosebumps, like holy shit. It sells how vast and even potentially treacherous the ocean is. And it also perfectly reflects how determined Marlin is to see this through to the end. I think we might actually have another A+ on our hands. This is definitely one of my favorites now. Well, we should probably see what Finding Dory has to offer as well. An unforgettable journey she probably won't remember. That's pretty cute, playing into her famous short-term memory loss like that. It doesn't really help that this movie is kind of seen as forgettable by a lot of people, but I don't want to blame the tagline for that. I think this one is cute and solid. B+. You know what? I'm kind of tired of movies now. It's epic gamer time. How about we look at some epic gamer taglines from video game movies? You know, besides Minecraft, since we already did that one. What does the Super Mario Bros. Movie have in store for us? Not all heroes wear capes. Some wear overalls. Yeah, that's fine, I suppose. You know, putting aside the fact that Mario does have a cape, I guess he doesn't have it in this movie, so it's fine. I just don't really think about the overalls as the first thing when Mario and Luigi come up. This isn't really doing a whole lot for me. Surely there was a more epic gamer slogan you could have used, or something more related to Mario in general. C+, I don't know. Let's see what Sonic is up to. Sonic the Hedgehog 1. A whole new speed of hero. This one's fine, but a little generic. I get it, he goes fast, but this isn't really all that clever, nor does it make sense grammatically either. I'll give it a C. Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Welcome to the next level. Okay, that's better. A cute way to tie into gaming in general, while also implying that the danger and intensity are really gonna get stepped up from here on out. I suppose you could apply it to any video game sequel, like, there's nothing stopping this from being the tagline for the Mario movie too, but I think it's pretty appropriate for what Sonic is, and it definitely works. B+.
Welcome to the new north. I'm the Joker, baby!
Sonic the Hedgehog 3. New adventure, new rival. Alright, I do have to give props for the use of the word adventure. Obviously a reference to Sonic Adventure 2, where Shadow originated. But otherwise, yeah, I feel like this is a pretty boring tagline. Is there really any appeal to this without the use of the word adventure? It feels a bit like a placeholder before they came up with something more clever. I'm sorry. C-. And now for one last video game movie I wanted to bring up. Ace Attorney. Yes, there was an Ace Attorney live-action film made in Japan. And its tagline is objection. I kind of love and hate this. Like, yep, you certainly nailed the essence of the series with that tagline. It's the funny lawyers saying objection franchise. But also, come on, you could be a little more clever than that. Some sort of cute pun related to the series or its characters. Some quote from the series that's more than one word long. I do still think this is kind of cute, but not to the point where I could really justify giving it anything above a B-. Alright, now for the moment you've all been waiting for, the grand finale! You saw the thumbnail, it's time to talk about Ted. I had never actually seen the movie before making this video, but since I am a professional, I watched it just so I could fully determine whether or not the tagline was an appropriate fit for the film itself. So now that I have watched the cinematic classic that is Ted 2012, I can determine that yes, this is indeed a very good and fitting tagline. Ted is coming. I don't know if you caught on to this, but there is in fact a double entendre present in this phrase. A seemingly innocent statement about the arrival of Ted contains a disturbing profanity of a sexual nature, which is an absolutely flawless way to get across the fact that this teddy bear is raunchy beyond belief. Look me in the eye and tell me there is a better tagline to express the sheer essence of Ted as a film or as a character. There is not. Therefore, I will have to give this tagline an A-. I mean, it's still a sex joke at the end of the day. And that is the conclusion to yet another Letterboxd tagline video. Wait a minute. I only talked about 49 movie taglines. I guess I need another one to make it 50. Well, I could always watch Ted 2, so I could talk about that. So anyway, CIA, a secret agent who does not work for peanuts. Oh, I get it, because sometimes monkeys work for peanuts, but this monkey does not because he's sentient and he would not do that. He gets paid a normal salary. That's cute, I like that. I think the exclamation point at the very end is what really sells the tongue-in-cheek, self-aware, corny nature of this tagline. It fits the movie, even though it's maybe a little wordy. Still, I mean, were you really expecting anything crazy incredible from CIA? I'm giving this one a B+. And I think I'm being plenty generous. Alright, that makes 50. Oh no, sorry Ted 2, we just didn't have time for you. Next time for sure. I'll definitely watch you so I could talk about your truly riveting looking tagline. Let me know if you have any other suggestions for movies I should judge the taglines of. This is weirdly fun, and it's low effort, so it makes for an easy thing to put out between the dozens of Adam Sandler movies I still have to watch. I'm so glad I agreed to that. Still, it is cool to talk about a wide variety of movies in my videos, even if most of them are from big studios. Yes, that includes CI-8. It was distributed by Lionsgate. And big studio stuff is fun, but I'm also looking for some engaging narrative content from independent creators. And I wouldn't be shocked if a lot of you are too. That's why I'm pleased to say that this video is brought to you by Amy's Dead End Dreamhouse, which you can watch exclusively on Nebula. Amy's Dead End Dreamhouse is a new scripted series created by, written, and starring Maggie Mae Fish. It's a fun, surrealist take on trying to navigate adult life and its seemingly fruitless tasks like job hunting, but presented in this candy-coated, psychedelic style with a ton of dry humor and creativity. There's an extended duck hunt-like sequence in the first episode. I'm especially fond of that. It's a really endearing and sweet watch, and you can watch it only on Nebula, like I said. Nebula is an ad-free, independent, creator-owned streaming platform specializing in thoughtful content. You can find a ton of original and engaging videos on the platform from some of your favorite creators, such as Legal Eagle, Tierzoo, Patrick Willems, Abigail Thorne, and so many more. You can even catch my videos early, before they even come to YouTube. Not only that, but my vids have no ads, and they're uncensored on here. It really is the definitive Schaffrillis experience. And you can enjoy content from so many other creators on top of that. New Nebula subscribers will get guest passes. There's no payment info required to redeem one, and no restrictions on what you can watch. Also, if you're in a gift-giving mood and want to share what Nebula has to offer with your family and friends, Nebula is now offering monthly, annual, and lifetime gift cards. If you want to join Nebula and support me, then I've got some good news. With my link, you can get 40% off Nebula. It's just $36 a year or $3 a month at go.nebula.tv/Schaffrillis. Have fun enjoying all the original content Nebula has to offer, on top of early, ad-free versions of my videos. Hope to see you there.